Welcome back to the Purple Political Breakdown. How's it going? How's your day been? And today it's time to talk about the recent news that has dropped of, Sunday, July 21st, 2024. Joe Biden has officially dropped out of the presidential election. Now, this is very important news, and there's stuff that I want to talk about. As you guys can see from the video, I'm going to be talking about potential candidates that I think make sense for the Democratic Party. But I want to be very clear why this is so monumental of a situation. And again, I want to specify very clearly that I'm not a Democrat, but I am anti-Trump. I'll be clear with you. I'll be honest with you. I get why people support him. I disagree with everything that people say about him, but I don't think it's good if Donald Trump wins. Now, this isn't really a video for Donald Trump supporters because a lot of y'all weren't going to vote for the Democrats anyway. You were going to vote Trump regardless. So it doesn't really matter what y'all opinions are regarding to this topic, but I do want to at the very least lend a hand, be charitable, and say I still believe that the majority of you wants what's best for the country. And that's why this situation that has recently happened is so monumental. This election has been kind of monikered the most important election of all time. Now, there may be a stretch. I think it really definitely is a stretch. I think at the very least, you gotta say the first presidential election is the most important. But in terms of the modern era, I think you have a legitimate case. This is not an overreaction either. I've heard some of you guys in my comment section say, why are people overreacting? And I do think that a lot of lefties and righties do overreact. But the importance of this election is all in regards to everything that has happened since Trump came into office, since Trump came into the presidential picture. This election between Trump and Biden could determine America's future moving forward. Now, that's a potential thing. It's not a guarantee. It's possible that Donald Trump takes office and he's not able to get anything done. He doesn't really do anything, similar to his first presidential term. But I will make a video about that later on, and I don't want to waste you guys' time, but I want to spell out these few characteristics. This presidential election has a situation where there's two old men, both seemingly incompetent to the general populace. Donald Trump not really saying anything about policy and lying consistently 90% of the time. Joe Biden seems like he can keel over and seems like he has Alzheimer's every time you see a clip of him. You have a situation where Donald Trump is seemingly getting indicted left, right, and center, and potentially the noise about it is that he orchestrated some type of coup against the United States, and he's built a rhetoric and narrative regarding fraudulent elections and the government's corruption. Whereas you have Joe Biden's presidency coming off the heels of COVID, one of the worst pandemics in the modern history, where the entire economy of the entire world has dwindled and all the blame is on Biden. In addition to that, you have two huge wars taking place in Israel and Palestine and Ukraine and Russia. You have so much going on with both of these men. And the fact that Joe Biden decided to step down really signifies how tumultuous this election has been. Because the Democrats, with especially the recent assassination attempt, and I said this on my social media, that the moment this happened, Trump is basically guaranteed to win against Biden. I think the Democrats realize this too. And right now, they got to take a chance. They got to really gamble that maybe, just maybe, another person will be a better fit. So I understand why Joe Biden stepped down. I also understood why he ran in the first place, because they believe he's the best person to take out Trump. I truly believe if Trump wasn't running for election for president, that Joe Biden wouldn't have reelected, because he said initially in his first term that he was going to pass it on to the newer generation. So we'll see what happens. But okay, enough filibustering for you guys. Who are the potential candidates that I think the Democrats should run? Now, I'm going to start off with the popular one right off the bat. The one that I feel like could capture the most people immediately, and that is Robert F. Kennedy Jr., a person who, as of right now, is running independently. RFK has really enamored a lot of the populace, especially the people in the middle, which is the people that you want to gain votes from in the first place. A lot of them don't really like Trump. A lot of them don't like Biden. The ones that are not truly captured, the average person prefers neither of them. But they see RFK and what he's been presenting. Someone who seems more fit, someone who seems more honest, someone who seems like he's knows what he's talking about. And at the very least, he's tied to a line, to a family where it has some sort of credibility in terms of the Kennedys. So RFK Jr. has the recognition to potentially threaten Trump. And Trump realized this because he came at RF Kennedy specifically. He usually only comes at the people he deems threats, which is why he came at Nikki Haley. Momentarily, he came at Vivek, Ron DeSantis, Biden, of course, and RFK Jr. So Trump knows this guy is a threat. Now the question is, why should the Democrats grab onto him? Well, he was initially a Democrat in the first place. And he has Democrat principles that I think would definitely adhere to the left, like climate change, for example, and then certain issues regarding, trying to make sure that the elites are not overcoming or taking advantage of people, trying to uplift the middle class, all of that stuff. There's a lot of leftist principles that RFK definitely abides by. The only thing that makes me concerned, because when I heard this from RFK, I was skeptical as well, is his whole COVID stuff. Like, his COVID rhetoric definitely seems a little right case nutcase right wing, whatever it is. But with that said, RFK Jr. has the popularity, he has the ability, he has the qualifications, and he has the people's trust. So he is the person, if I am the Democratic Party, if I am the DNC, I will look at him first. I would look at him right now. I mean, you just got to see the fact that he did his own singular debate, like on Twitter, while the Trump and Biden one was going on, and he was getting millions and millions of views because people rather see him than those two. So look out for RFK Jr. I think he is a perfect guy, and I think this will do an amazing precedent and reignite the value of independence. Reignite the value of third parties, which I'm a huge advocate for. I'm tired of this two-party system that gets people ideologically captured. So, with that said, RFK Jr. would be my first pick. And I'm not going into policy for this video. Those would probably be individualized videos for a different time, or maybe even a podcast episode. This is a quick video that I want to talk about real quick for y'all. Next person that I think is a possibility, of course, it makes sense, is Kamala Harris. Now, Kamala Harris has a lot of things around her that is potentially worrying, right? A lot of people call her out being somewhat two-faced, right? She would say one thing, and then later on, years down the line, she would say another thing. Now, you can accredit that to growth in terms of an individual, or you can accredit that to appealing to the populace and appealing to voters, not appealing to your own individualized values. Hard to say, but at the very least, what you can say for Kamala Harris is that, one, it could set a precedent. That would be huge for the United States of America, having the first woman president and a woman of color nonetheless. And two, she is definitely progressive in terms of her left-wing takes. Those are going to appeal to the Democrats. Big advocate for climate change, big advocate for women's and LGBTQ rights, big advocate for, pro-life abortion rhetoric as well, or pro-choice abortion rhetoric as well. She is, I know a lot of people are not going to like this. She advocates for gun control. She also advocates for voter security, putting more money into more secure voting machines. There are things that the Democrats are going to appeal to. And of course, she's going to have the support of Joe Biden's administration, and she's immediately recognizable as well. And in recent polls before the Trump assassination attempt, she had poll numbers that were beating Donald Trump's. So she is another possible candidate to run for the Democratic nominee. Now, the last one, of course, is a name that has been ringing across the grapevines for a while now, and that, of course, is Gavin Newsom. Now, Gavin Newsom is a governor of California, and we know California is big in its progressive rhetoric. Compared to Kamala Harris, I would argue Gavin Newsom is much more left-wing than she is, and he is a definite advocate in terms of like LGBTQ, women's rights, everything that Kamala Harris is an advocate for. He is much more so. He is a progressive true. And arguably, compared to all the other candidates that I've mentioned, even Trump, of course, Gavin Newsom might be the best debater out of all of them. He sounds like he knows what he's talking about more than every one of them. Now, if you disagree with this policy rhetoric, that is fine. But as of recently with Biden and Donald Trump, the only thing that people have recently been caring about is how good do you look? How qualified do you seem? Well, a well-educated, confident white man is something that will appeal to a lot of people in America, and that is the truth. So Gavin Newsom, in terms of optics, is arguably, in terms of his ability to be a president, probably is the strongest out of every single candidate. And he is someone that will have the huge support of the left, especially the progressives. Now, I think his general recognition and his general appeal to the moderates and the people in the middle is really hard to say. But if they see Gavin Newsom try to debate Donald Trump, I guarantee that Gavin Newsom will utterly destroy him. But does that matter? Who knows? Clip culture loves to pick and choose which clips that they think is good. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, those are the three people that I think are going to be the DNC candidates. I personally think RFK Jr. is the best choice, but let me know who you think should be the Democratic nominee to take on Donald Trump and beat him. I'm not a Democrat, I'm not on the left, but me, as a moderate, as a purple guy, I don't want Donald Trump to win. So with that said, let me know what you guys think. I'm curious about other opinions regarding it, of course. And now that Joe Biden is out, who should come in? Y'all have been asking for it for a while, and shout out Joe Biden for having the integrity to step down. So with that said, you have a good one. Take care and peace.